All right. Tab, I guess just kind of start off as we do each game. Just obviously your thoughts on how the team played this evening, how the game played out.
I think in general, I thought we started the game fairly well. Had a couple opportunities to potentially take the lead. One that I recall, Memo going into the box by himself, where he ended up not even getting a shot off. Another ball in the box where Memo placed to Christian a little bit behind, where Christian would have had, maybe if the ball's right in front of him, Christian would have been, one-on-one with the goalkeeper from about 8 or 9 yards out. And then their goal kind of came out of nowhere. Their goal, we have a line of 5 in the back, and their goalkeeper just basically clears the ball, and for them to beat us that way, I mean, it's a lack of focus in the back, and they caught us on that. And then the game becomes a little bit more uphill. They get the second goal on a cross with us having 3 center backs in the middle, and they still get a header in. The team pulls one back. I thought Christian did well on taking that opportunity, but also in the game in general, he played fairly well. And then, obviously then, we have the mistake from Marco, but, Marco's, every player makes mistakes, and Marco, we know, has saved us a lot. So unfortunately we couldn't come back from that third goal.
Okay. And before I open it up to questions, and guys, go ahead and click the raise your hand button if you have questions for Tab. Obviously, Tab, you were watching the game. You weren't on the bench this evening. So just how different was that being in the stands for the game from your perspective?
I mean, it's difficult not being on the sideline. I like being, next to the players and on top of the players, and, and talking to the players. And unfortunately, I couldn't do that today. He did a good job, of course, as he would always do. He's an experienced coach, and Martin also is an experienced coach. So there was no issues there. I wasn't worried. I was just maybe a little bit more nervous when I'm not there, because I'd rather be there myself.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open up to some questions. We'll start with Corey Repkin from the Chronicle. Go ahead, Corey.
Hey, Coach. You said you watched from the stands. Was there like a reserved area? About how many rows up was it?
No, we were actually in a box, in our video box.
Okay.
So I was all the way up on top. Yep.
Gotcha. What was the hardest part of that for you?
You feel a little bit helpless, you feel like you can't really have an effect on what is going on. And obviously, I've been in Houston now a year and a half. I'm a fan of Houston Dynamo, and I want the team to win, not just for the selfish reason that I'm the coach, but because, I want the club to win games. And I felt like I was one more fan up there, and I was obviously disappointed with the result.
And my last one, can you take us through the decision to start with 5 defenders?
Yeah, I felt like, Colorado, I felt like the way they play, they settle a lot for those early crosses, just like they scored the second goal with. And we actually wanted to give them those. We wanted to encourage them to cross the ball early and get the ball in the box, because we felt that with Miner, Tim, and Alejandro, we would win all of those. Unfortunately, I think it was Rubio that got in front of Alejandro for the second goal. I certainly didn't expect that, but, it happens in games. Sometimes good players make plays and they beat you, and that's what happens. And I think that's what happened in that particular play. I think in general, defensively, the team did well. But unfortunately, being behind in the score and you find yourself with 5 guys in the back, obviously it's much more difficult to generate on the other end.
Thanks.
We'll go now to Garrett Heinrich. Go ahead, Garrett.
Hey, Tab. Do you think having to fly in, playing at altitude on the same day, do you think that has an effect on the squad?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not ideal. What we're not going to do is look for excuses here. So it's not ideal. It's not easy to fly, to take a 3-hour flight and get off the plane, have a meal, and basically come play in this altitude. Having said that, I felt like we were putting in a lot of fresh legs because of it. That would give us our best chance to win. And then I thought in the last, as we had discussed before the game, in the last 30 minutes, we could, throw in the guys that have been playing a little bit more. And we thought that they could stay fresh for the last 30 and we could win the game. That was kind of the idea. I pushed the other guys a lot Wednesday and Saturday last week on two big games we had. Obviously the derby against Dallas, the team did tremendous. And I thought on Wednesday against Kansas City, they also did really well. But we spent a lot of energy. We were playing a team that didn't have a Wednesday game, so they were rested and they were at home. So we felt like we needed fresh legs. There was no question. I'm not, I'm not questioning our decision to change the lineup around and to go with 5 in the back. I felt we did the right thing. It's just obviously it didn't work out.
You mentioned all the new faces. A lot of guys out there that you hadn't seen on the field during the regular season this year. What did you pick up from them, from those guys in this game?
Well, yeah. I mean, we gave some opportunity. Alejandro got a chance to play 90 minutes. He hadn't played, full game really since preseason. Bajamic got his debut, and we gave him a good 30, 35 minutes. So that was good. We needed that. We needed to start getting him involved. He's a young player, and I really want to be careful in terms of, bringing him on a little bit at a time. But obviously he was able to contribute. And then Nico Lemoyne, obviously is a player that we put in, 8 or 10 games last year, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And I felt like, maybe he deserves an opportunity. He's been working extremely hard in training and he deserved the opportunity. And I thought, he fought out there. Maybe it wasn't his best game, but he fought, but we had an opportunity to put another young player in. So I'm, happy with that part of it, happy that we put ourselves in position to be able to manage our roster like most teams can. I felt like last year we were playing a final every weekend and in a game that it was a must win. Not that this one wasn't, obviously, but it didn't give us an opportunity to kind of shift the roster. And now I'm glad that we had that opportunity because we got to see guys on the field.
And then with Marco, obviously a mistake. He's going to probably be down on himself. How do you as a manager, how do you pick him up? How do you get him mindset right for the next game?
Here's the thing about goalkeeping. Sometimes the less you say, the better. What I do know about goalkeeping, and I know very little about goalkeeping, what I do know is that the best goalkeepers in the world sometimes make the worst mistakes. And it happens. Ball between their legs, ball under their foot, and it goes in the goal, or something like today, right, where it gets blocked. I saw the game earlier today in which, Alex Bono, punched the ball into the back of a New York City player, and the ball goes in the goal. You don't want these things to happen, obviously, when you're a coach, but unfortunately, these things sometimes happen. So for me, I have full confidence in Marco, and we just move on like it never happened.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Victor Ariza from the striker. Go ahead, Victor.
Hey, Tab. Obviously, there was going to be some squad rotation, but looking back on this game and the organization of it, where would you maybe make some changes now after, obviously, the result happened?
No, as I said before, if I look back at the decision to whether it was to play 5 in the back and who played in midfield and all that, I'm comfortable with what we did. Obviously, it didn't work out, but if I look at the goals we gave up, one goal was given up. Basically, we had a line of 5 against 2 players, and the ball just goes over the top. A long ball goes over the top to the left side and between Miner and Adam, and I think that's just a mistake. So I think we were organized, we were ready, and we made a mistake, and it happened. So I can't go backwards on all of the thinking that we did going into this game and all the planning that we did to stop Colorado because we made a mistake. Mistakes sometimes happen. So I'm comfortable with that.
And I believe you answered this one earlier, but just to kind of go back on your absence on the sideline, how much do you think that influenced your team?
No, I mean, these are all professional players. They to a certain extent, of course, it's always good to have your coach on the sideline. But I think Omid can send the right messages. Omid and I have worked together for a long time, for years and years. So I don't feel like anything was missing. I feel like I missed out. I'd like to be on top of players. And of course it's a little different when you're not there, but I wouldn't make that, I wouldn't say that's an excuse for today.